Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Happy New Year! It just turned midnight somewhere. Not here yet, but somewhere. We gotta look to the future, Joel. You know, this year has not been the happiest of years, so trying to cheer things up before we go.
Tim, this year is supposed to be your year.
Why? What do you know?
I don't know. Every year is supposed to be your year. Every year is supposed to be everybody's year. And this year really didn't pan out to be many people's year, did it?
No, I mean, you know, life. That's how life is. You can't put
Exactly.
that type of expectation on a single year. Live every day to the fullest.
Amen, my friend. Well, I guess he's not going to tell you who we are. So welcome to Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring on December 31st as we are live here on youtube.com. You know, I'm Joel. You know, Tim is the other guy who talks. And we've had a really interesting year, to say the least.
Yep.
A really interesting week, to say the least. A bit of a sad way to end 2020, if you will. We begin tonight with the passing of Brodie Lee, Jon Huber, who AEW announced and shock ensued. He passed away December 26th. I was preparing for a gaming stream over with Fightful when we all kind of got the news as we were starting to prep to go live. And we were shocked, and it took the wind out of everyone's sails. And then Tim and I had to go on PW Unlimited that weekend and talk about the week ahead without knowing what the week ahead would be. And then Tim, I think if you go back and watch that video, nothing we talked about happened.
Yeah, I noticed. But I mean, you know, yeah. Oh well.
You know, it's really, really rare in wrestling, especially these days, that when someone passes, they are universally loved and appreciated, and that is a legacy. That say whatever you want about any wrestler ever and the championships they hold and the money that they drew and the places that they went. No, at the end of the day, if your coworkers and people who were barely affected by you have positive things to say about you and the life you led and the examples you set, it's a pretty powerful legacy.
Yeah, like the love that he seems to have spread on the back end of things is nothing short of tremendous. Like it's a beautiful thing to see. And that's the type of legacy that I think that anybody should be striving for. Like this is how we should live our lives in a way that when we leave this mortal coil, that this is how people talk about us. I think that's more important than any other accolades you could kind of gather together. The love that people expressed for him and the way they talked about how he felt about his family says a lot about his character, more so than anything he could have done in the ring. So,
yeah, speaking of his family, we saw last night on the tribute show. We're going to talk a little bit more about the tribute show from AEW last night. But -1 or -1, if you will, Brodie Jr., his son, is signed to an AEW contract. I think that's a wonderful thing for Tony Khan and for AEW to have done for the kid and the family. Obviously a big wrestling fan. He's young. Maybe he wants to get into the business. Who knows? But just the idea that if he wants, he is one of theirs. He is welcome. And even last night, you saw he got to book some of the matches and got to get involved in that 6-man with MJF. I think that was just a beautiful spot. And I love that MJF, I'm sure he was just tickled pink to be able to go out there and beat MJF and be that real dickhead and then get cracked over the head for it. I think it was wonderful. It's really nice to see. And at the end of the show, we saw Tony Khan present the TNT title as it was to Brodie Jr. -1 and say, this is the Legacy Championship. And they're going to actually create a brand new TNT championship. And I guess that'll be the one that Darby Allin holds from now, probably for the next 10 years until Brodie Jr. comes back and wins it and unifies the titles.
That's funny. That's a long setup that's a long story. We'll see.
That's what we're here for. That's what wrestling is all about. Long-term storytelling, Tim.
Maybe that'll be the one where the lights go down. Things fade.
That's right.
That's it. He unifies all the championships in AEW. No more championships.
That's right. Normally, we would say something about our tip jar and that you can support us and everything. But in the spirit of tonight and the spirit of what the week has been, we're actually going to encourage you to go over to Pro Wrestling Tees or go to Collar and Elbow. There are Brodie Lee shirts that are up for sale, and the proceeds go directly to the Huber family. On top of that, CM Punk t-shirts from Pro Wrestling Tees and Mick Foley's t-shirts, proceeds from those sales will go to support the Huber family. I think it's wonderful just seeing wrestling as a community, as fans, as friends coming together, co-workers supporting their fallen. It's incredible. So far, that Pro Wrestling Tees tribute shirt that I just talked about set a new 24-hour sales goal at Pro Wrestling Tees. It beat the Sting shirt that just shattered records recently. That says something, Tim, about a legacy.
That's excellent. It's good to hear.
It really is.
Love to hear it.
I have in my notes, Miro, Big E, Chris Harrington, also known as Mookie. Chris is an AEW VP. They're putting out just tons of tweets and just remembering their friend and telling stories about him and really just reminding you the type of human being that Jon was. I think that's the most important thing. I had a few offline conversations with friends about this, and that some people take the loss of someone they've never known personally very hard. And at that point, it's tough for some people to separate the person from the persona. And in this case, I think so many more people are getting to understand the person that Jon Huber was, that the grief is a little bit more real, despite maybe not knowing him one-on-one, but the stories are legitimate and the stories are real and feel as if you actually got to know the man himself. So
yeah, sweet.
It is. I have a few matches to watch. I'm also going to direct you over to the WWE social media. There's a 5-minute tribute that was put up earlier today. Wrestlers sharing their thoughts and their experiences with Luke Harper as he was back there. Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Jason Jordan, who's a producer backstage. Adam Pearce, of course, you see him every Monday and Friday. He's also a producer backstage. Keith Lee, Ali, John Morrison, Tyson Kidd all gave just beautiful, heart-wrenching tales of their time with Jon. Check it out. Otherwise, I'm going to trip over my words. But yeah, there are a few matches to watch. Tim, if you want to take the matches that I put down for us a little bit, we can trade off.
Yeah, so some things to watch would be Brodie Lee versus Cody, the dog collar match, which was, I believe, his last match, right?
Yes, it was.
Wasn't anything after that, so.
And just before that, you had Brodie Lee and Jon Moxley going off at Double or Nothing 2020. It was a very, very hard-hitting affair. Really, really love that match.
Big spot with the stage, the entry ramp. I guess you'd call it a ramp, more level, but the entry platform.
Right. Oh God, some of those moves were really, really dangerous. But that's wrestling.
Luke Harper versus Dolph Ziggler, that ladder match, which I actually caught recently. Very, very well regarded, and it was really awesome. It's good to see. Like, I love both those guys, so it was really awesome.
And it was nice. Again, in WWE, Harper didn't have a huge singles run, and this was that chance. And yeah, he took the ball and ran. That was a really good match. And then you've got a couple of Y family matches. They took on the Usos in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag titles back at Battleground in 2014. And then they took on, of course, very famously, the Shield at Elimination Chamber in 2014 as well. And then there's a little known one. I don't know if you've seen it. And that's Harper taking on Dominik Dijakovic at Worlds Collide in 2019. Yeah. That's a match that happened.
That sounds that I might actually go back and check, because that sounds really interesting.
You should. A very underrated show, Worlds Collide 2019. It happened around Mania weekend in 2019. So go out of your way, check it out. It's good stuff. I have it written about the Bruce Mitchell saga. I'm gonna give you just top end. Tim, I know you read a little bit about it. Bruce Mitchell, he wrote for PW Torch. He put out an article after Brodie's passing, after Jon passed, that caught a lot of fire and just was the wrong time, the wrong questions, just the wrong thing to put out there at the time. And next thing you know, the world is rightfully after him for what he wrote and what he put out there. And next thing is finally the Torch takes it down after a few days. Wade Keller, who's of course the editor, the owner of PW Torch, also releases a statement and follows up by firing Bruce Mitchell, who had been with the Torch for over 30 years. A lot of people had a lot to say about Bruce Mitchell and about what he did. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to summarize it as dumb decisions made at the worst time, asking the wrong questions. And if you can't cover those three things, you probably should ask yourself more questions about why you're in this job. Don't want to go too far into it, but if you have anything to add, Tim, go ahead.
I don't really like. I don't. There was a lot of bickering after this, and I just don't. I don't care. Like
That's fair.
Yeah. Like honestly, I think there are just problems with fandom and celebrity, and how we as a society like look to people. Man died. I didn't know him. Like I knew his persona. It is lovely to see that behind the scenes he was a beloved man. I had no idea because I don't really follow this stuff. I follow what goes on screen, and he was like a villain involved in a couple of really tremendous factions that I really liked the ideas of, and I was looking forward to seeing the Dark Order become something, and like that's what I'm focused on. I'm disappointed that that story isn't going to be told the way that I was hoping, but you know, the man has a family, and I think that matters more than anything. I don't have a lot to say about the journalism quote unquote behind it and things like that. I have no idea. I don't care. All I saw was a bunch of people fighting over what is and isn't right when a man has died, and there's no rules to this. People will make mistakes because this is a sensitive thing. It's a huge part of life where people pass on, and the etiquette around it differs from person to person, from culture to culture, because it's something that we maybe don't talk enough about in a serious way. I don't know.
No, I think you nailed it on the head. And I know you and I talked about it offline that we don't fully understand people's grieving processes and how they take news like this. And yeah, at the end of the day, those who are feeling it a little bit more are more than okay to have those feelings. Yeah, just it's weird. It's a weird time in wrestling, and it's a weird time to lose somebody who was beloved. No one expected it. So
yeah,
takes
and
by
with
surprise.
with the writing part about it, I mean, this is the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, there will be mistakes, but when there's money and clicks involved, sometimes gross stuff happens. I don't know.
So I will add this: the Bruce could have just apologized.
Yeah.
And at every juncture, every time he was given the opportunity, he doubled down. He tripled down. He didn't actually try to do better. He just made it worse for himself and stood by it, almost as if something he's expecting to come to light will come to light. And let's say it does. Let's say something he says comes. What's he going to do? Take a victory lap while the rest of the world says, "What the hell's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
What is he expecting to come out of that?
And that's the thing. Like, I think there's just not enough listening all over the place. I think social media, I'm sure there was some group of people also feeding his ego about it. So it makes it difficult for people to listen and apologize when we keep splitting up as much as we do. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a conducive place for conversation, Twitter.
No, it's not. And I obviously spend a lot of my time on it, but I do it in different ways. So I understand. There's a lot of shite on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Like it can be a force for good as much as it can be a force for bad. It's just weird stuff happens. It's a shame. I missed a lot of it, so I'm talking a little bit out my butt.
Better off.
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
This is sorry. I'm gonna go into the muck for a second. This was the other thing that really kind of bugged me. People who had to make this an AEW versus WWE thing, which wrong time, wrong place. A, B, the idea of like what tributes are okay.
Yeah, like I
don't think people really understand that you give it's a sports reference, but the advantage goes to the home team.
Yeah.
And Brodie's home team was not WWE anymore.
No.
So why the hell would WWE try to take the thunder from AEW, who are putting on a full-fledged tribute show? I get that they could put together a video package. They could. Friday night is tomorrow. They could put something on. Who knows? But if you're expecting some sort of full-on WWE tribute show, it's not going to happen. It's not what they're going to do because it's not their home team.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And like this always opens up a can of worms for me in terms of like, because the way that this all comes together is really messy because there's a business involved. I actually hadn't even heard the take about the home team thing, which makes a lot more sense to me. Like that's a perfectly reasonable approach. Why would WWE, just because by virtue of the timing, get first crack at it? That would be very messed up. Other things I'd heard was like, WWE did a big thing for Chris Benoit, who was an active wrestler, and we all know how that unfolded, which is really unfortunate and difficult. And so, as an organization, maybe give it some time before jumping into things. Additionally, there are a lot of human beings walking this earth, and every one of us passes off of it at some point. So, this one man had a legacy, and he was an active competitor, which makes a big thing. But like a lot of wrestlers die all the time. WWE has standardized kind of how they do that by putting up that placard, which I think is nice. Like I don't think it's I think it's a nice way to commemorate people because like I keep seeing weird posts like we lost a lot of good people this year. Hopefully it's fewer next year. No, you're going to lose the same number of good people because death is a thing. It's not going to stop. Like you will lose people. So like, the show goes on. AEW did a tremendous job honoring a man who was like beloved. Like his impact was probably outsized compared to some other people, which is beautiful to hear. It's just, it becomes this difficult question of who gets the full program of honor and who fades away into the past, like it's tough.
Yeah.
Because what life is worth more than any other. So I don't know.
Yeah. So let's transition a little bit because you did bring up the idea that, every year something changes, but what do you remember? What were your favorite things in wrestling for this past year? We had a lot of memorable moments, a lot of favorite moments. Is there anything right off the top of your head that you can think of that really tickled you this year?
Yeah, there were a few things in AEW, particularly like the Stadium Stampede match. Most memorable to me was actually like Hangman, like just kind of wandering the back with the horse and then ending up in the bar and then doing the classic bar fight, which we've seen a few times in wrestling, like almost to the we saw twice this year because there was the Sheamus Jeff Hardy run along the, I can't remember what movie that's from, probably a few different like Westerns, but that was pretty good. And the Sammy Guevara gif him running from the golf cart. From WWE's side, what was like my favorite? I think WrestleMania, I keep forgetting that it had like a lot of really good moments this year. Because for whatever reason, it was just a different time of year. And it didn't click as WrestleMania, but like the Boneyard match was incredible. And like a great way to end Taker's career if they finally let his career end. And the Money in the Bank match, I really enjoyed this year. I thought it was fun.
It was, and so kind of building on that, yeah, there were a lot of kind of changes that were forced by a pandemic. You had cinematic matches, you had empty arenas, you had the advent of the Thunderdome, which at first everyone, including us, we made fun of it because Thunderdome sounds so silly, whatever. And then next thing you know, they're using it to their advantage. Yes, you can go in and watch on the screens, and they're pivoting and trying to adapt to how they want Thunderdome the experience to be. We talked about that on our show as well this year. But they've really done a good job with trying to bring in fans to the best that they could, and that's virtually. And moving forward, it could also help them. If they need to fill an arena, put a bunch of virtual fans.
I mean, this was a year for innovation, and it was inspiring to see a company that is kind of old hat do the things that they needed to do to try different experiences and make put something up, right? Like they couldn't just give up. So watching them try different things, some of which worked, some of which didn't really, but like, you know, they're giving it a shot and they didn't shy away from it. It didn't take them too long before they started exploring with the format, and like putting on the WrestleMania that they did, I think shows like a decent amount of courage to take on that innovation.
Yeah, and trying to do it, over 2 nights instead of one, because if you do one night, forcing people to stay up and watch for 17 hours is kind of, it's excessive. Can't do that.
I mean, they could just do less
Yeah,
for this year,
God,
perhaps. Just do less. But
no, not happening. We're gonna do more. It's gonna be a 12-hour show. Everyone's gonna be there for the whole time. We're gonna give out COVID shots at the event, at the show when you get there. That's how it works. But yeah, the creativity in production technique, that was the big thing for WWE this year. Using more drones. Again, we talked about Thunderdome. The TLC match that we just saw, the Firefly Inferno match, easy for me to say. That match itself was just completely different from what we expected and what we saw. Like, it's pretty neat what they can do. But speaking of pandemic WWE, Asuka, Bayley, and Sasha Banks saving that company during a pandemic, easily the most entertaining people on air and off during a pandemic. Very really big. That was huge for me.
At first, it seemed like they were going to put it squarely, entirely on Charlotte's shoulders. So it's nice to see that a few other people could pick it up when she couldn't be around for that either. So,
yeah, the Roman Reigns heel turn and return.
It's been such a
did not expect it. Love it.
Yeah, like that.
And the rise of Jey Uso.
Yeah, and like I wasn't a huge Roman Reigns fan, so when he returned, like, what did they destroy the ring for that one? I was like, wasn't that exciting, but then it turned into, like, honestly, perhaps the best writing of the year for me, for WWE. So,
yeah. And finally, we started the year, so we'll cap it off with this: the return of Edge. For Canadians, amazing. For Edge, amazing, who had been out for so long. I think it was really cool for him to get his return and really get an opportunity to end his career his own way.
Yeah, and like when that music hit, just the goosebumps. It was like, this is why I watch. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, wish you had been there live. I wish I had been there live. Would have been nice. So 2 weeks, the Dusty Classic returns. Have you ever watched a Dusty Classic? No, of course you haven't.
What? I feel like we've established in this show that the answer to that question is going to be no.
It's always no.
If you follow these weeks, no.
I don't follow our own product. The teams to be announced. Again, easy for me to say. They'll be told next week on NXT TV. We already have Adam Cole and Roderick Strong officially entering the tournament. I can expect Ever Rise. I can expect Grizzled Young Vets. I don't know with Breezango. I don't know with Dane and Drake.
Maybe
both Lucha House Party.
Yeah, well, probably Lucha House Party now. Although, yeah, I don't know.
So Gran Metalik and Santos Escobar have a match next week for the Cruiserweight Championship, which is great because Metalik almost made it to the finals of the Cruiserweight Classic back in 2016. So there's a pretty interesting story to be told there. He deserved a title shot. He didn't get it because obviously he didn't go to the finals of the tournament, but he lost to the guy who went to the finals of the tournament. So that means something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
maybe. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Like I feel like all of those teams have to be in them. Like I'm not a big fan of tournaments in wrestling, at least not the way that they're usually put together, because it's just like, this is going to take a long time. And then the prize they said was a shot at the tag champs. So I was like, okay. like that's fine.
Good enough for me.
Like that makes sense. The cup part of it seems irrelevant because they'll do this with or without a name or a cup. Like, it doesn't feel special to me because, like, I don't know anything about the Dusty Rhodes Cup. Is Dusty Rhodes a tag wrestler? Thought he was a singles guy like most of his career.
Yeah, so it was mostly just brought up because it was after Dusty had passed. He was very influential with NXT, so the Dusty Cup kind of became, and it started off as like usually the winners were just two random wrestlers who paired up and ended up winning the thing, which kind of undercut the tag division.
Well,
but, yeah.
Like if there were more tag teams, this would feel more special, but there aren't. And like
Right.
the way I would do it is you need to build the tag division a bit more to get to here. Because like they have a lot of really talented tag teams. They just put together, I think, another good one with Dane and Drake. God knows that'll probably only last like 6 months before they get bored of it and need to throw Dane and Drake in a match against each other. But
Fight pit, fight pit, fight pit.
yeah, but like yeah, I think they could use a little bit more tag teams. This would be a good opportunity to introduce a lot of new ones if they want to make that a long-term part of their brand. I don't know that they do, but if they want to, that's my take on how this could be really interesting.
So last year, when they did the Dusty Cup, they actually brought in Kushida to tag with Alex Shelley,
Yeah,
who is now, of course, Motor City Machine Guns in Impact. So there's always a little surprise here. So maybe the surprise this year is the debut of the Rascals. Maybe
yeah.
we'll see Zachary Wentz and Desmond Xavier make their NXT debut, go far in the tournament, maybe not win it depending on who's in it. And this should be Grizzled Young Vets tournament.
I think that's what we're going to. The fact that they announced it during their match, etc. Like it just seems kind of telling that this is where they're gonna push things, especially with them going over Breezango, was it? Yeah.
Yeah. And no idea if Birch and Lorcan are going to be part of it. They are the NXT Tag Team Champions. They've been in it, like the Tag Team Champions have been a part of it before, so it's not completely out of the realm of possibility, but we haven't seen them on TV, so who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So we start 2021 tomorrow, and we have a new episode of SmackDown that we're going to preview towards the end of the show. But can I just give you like the next week in wrestling, and I want to see what you say to this.
All right.
So we have SmackDown on Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got Raw on the 4th, which is Monday, of course, and then that night/morning you have New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 1, and then the 5th, which is the next night, Wrestle Kingdom Night 2, and then the 6th is New Japan's New Year's Dash show, which is usually a big like next steps in our storyline progression show. And then MLW is presenting Kings of Colosseum also on the 6th. And then AEW's New Year's Smash is also on the 6th. That's night 1. And then New Year's Evil from NXT is going to be January 6th as well. And then you got SmackDown on Friday. And then you've got Impact Genesis on January 9th. That's 9 days, Tim.
That's all before our next show.
Well, SmackDown. So the January 7th is our next show.
Oh yeah, okay, 6 is Wednesday.
So basically our next show is going to be like 3 hours long. Get ready, folks. I'm not going to watch all of this.
Yeah, like I've watched New Japan stuff before, and like it seems very good. There's just so much wrestling, and I don't even know like where to begin with that because I don't even know how their stuff is structured. Like I thought they were like they did like a show once a month or whatever, but there's 3 here.
The thing with Wrestle Kingdom is like just like WrestleMania just did 2 nights. Wrestle Kingdom has been 2 nights for I think this is their second or maybe even the 3rd year. But yeah, this has been their thing for a little bit. New Year's Dash, like I said, it's a smaller show, even smaller this year because of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So they're going to, like I said, it usually starts new storylines, and with New Japan, you know how storylines can go. They go long. They do a lot of long-term storytelling,
which I appreciate. Like I like the few episodes of the New Japan stuff that I've seen. Like I really enjoyed. There's so much wrestling.
It's a good problem to have.
It's good.
New Year's Smash, NXT New Year's Evil. Those will be good. MLW's King of Colosseum. I just wanted to put it in there because it's an extra show. But yeah, then SmackDown and Genesis is going to be a good show as well. And I'm really looking forward to watching that.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh my God, we're halfway through. Do we start with hits or do we book softly?
No, let's start with hits.
Okay. SmackDown last week was Christmas Day. You had nothing to do.
I watched it and it was amazing.
Yes, it was.
Like it was so good. Like every single thing on it was very, very good. Why? Why? How? What's?
It's almost as if Fox was like, "Hey, do something for Christmas. Whatever." And Vince was like, I don't give a shit. You guys do whatever you want. Merry Christmas. And the writers were just like, oh, now's our chance.
Freedom. Was that it? Do you think that was what did it? Like
Vince goes, I don't care. I'm out of here.
Oh man.
Merry Christmas. Oh, I don't give a shit.
it was special. Like it was damn good. And like to kick off, they kicked off with the cage match, and it was like, okay.
Which was very smart because they were coming off of a football game. So
Yep,
they
exactly.
maintained out of that. And again, we don't talk about ratings here, but here we are talking about ratings. They scored a 4 in a show that was getting a solid 2.2. So obviously they balanced out with the second hour, came
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
but it was still over 3 for that rating, like 3 million viewers. They opened up the first hour with 4 million viewers. They haven't seen that in a long time.
yeah. Like an
Into that. I'm into
it's a
that.
tight 2 hours. Like 2 hours is such a better amount of time for wrestling.
Yeah. Yes, it
Televised
is.
wrestling. Like it's just it hit perfectly. I really really love that show, and I haven't watched a WWE weekly that isn't NXT and felt this way in a little while. So this was really really good.
Was there anything you would rebook?
From that show,
Yeah,
I
from SmackDown this past week.
I don't think so. Like the only thing is just like, why you can do this? You're capable of doing this. Do this more often. Like I don't expect every single week to be like this. That's impossible. Like every show is going to have its ups and downs. But like clearly they have the staff and the capability to put on some really special stuff. And I feel like, yeah, maybe it is just Vince that's holding them back.
You're writing to a party of one,
Yeah.
an audience of one.
It's a shame.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've literally got in my notes. Anything you want to rebook? Nah, we're good.
Yeah.
It's
Like just
one
do
of those
that
shows.
over and over again, mix it up, but
If you want to
like
get
same caliber.
nitpicky, it was a pre-tape show, and people kept pointing this out, and I thought it was funny. Charlotte saying Christmas came early on a show that was airing on Christmas,
That's funny. That's
and it
very
was
funny.
like 10 o'clock on Christmas Eve, and you're just like, wait, early? Where? What? I enjoyed that.
What's pretty funny, I think I also saw a headline today that they had edited the Uso oh my
Brian.
god, Daniel Bryan match. Yeah, I was gonna say Brian Daniel.
Brian
um,
Danielson.
yeah, I guess they edited it, but like I didn't notice. So
So they did. I was in Thunderdome watching that, and they sent us to like a 10-minute commercial break. I was just like, why is this taking so long?
what
And I didn't.
happened?
And I saw a friend of mine on the screens on Thunderdome, and I messaged them, and I was just like, why are we still in commercial? And they were kind of explaining what was going on. I had a good laugh about that. But yeah, that part was funny. And then they also edited Sasha Banks had dropped her title belt when she was on her way to the ring, and Carmella got tripped up on her entrance robe. Also,
Delightful. Oh, okay, cool.
everything. So whatever. That's fun. It's wrestling.
Yep.
What about Raw? What did you like about Raw?
Opening match was good. As always, like I just really like Sheamus. Now that he's not working with Jeff Hardy, didn't love that. Ricochet was great. He's always great. He's so good. I love Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet and Ali had another banger of a match. Here's the thing, they just did it.
Yeah, I know. That's
it's,
what. Yeah, like
it's just that's the way they do it with Ricochet. I get it, but yeah, and yeah, Keith Lee and Sheamus for that #1 contendership was an excellent match. Really enjoyed watching those two hosses kind of beat the shite out of each other.
yeah, it's really
And
good.
all the fun that it tells out of that. So looking forward to the Royal Rumble. Looking forward to Legends Night next week.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. I don't care.
There's my rebook for Raw. Don't do Legends Night next week.
Yeah, just don't. Just cancel that.
Just have a New Year's show. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I don't need to listen to Hulk Hogan say anything ever.
Oh, ain't that right, brother? What
Like,
what do you want to see rebooked? I have a feeling we're going to be on the same page here.
Okay, so they've decided that they don't know what to do with the Miz, but everyone likes the Miz. Like
No,
I
they
assume,
did. They stopped the count, Tim. They stopped the count and they awarded the Money in the Bank briefcase to Miz, who is the rightful winner. They didn't cash in. Stop the count. Miz is the winner. He is the president. I mean, he is Money in the Bank holder.
Yeah. I assume Miz is also beloved backstage because this guy gets treated so well. He seems like a nice guy in real life. They clearly don't know what to do with him and Morrison, but they don't want to take them off TV. So they're giving him back the Money in the Bank thing so that they can say Money in the Bank 100 more times. I ideally would have let this run its course and let Miz have cashed in and then, take them off the air and figure out what you want to do with them going forward. But if they do want to bring back this Money in the Bank angle now, what I would have done with Adam Pearce is have him come in and put a stipulation on this. Like, okay,
Yeah.
your thing makes sense. Fine. You didn't cash it in. You get this back under the stipulation that you have a match at Royal Rumble. Like, you are cashing this in. You get this one shot. You have cashed in. This is what you get. This is our compromise. But, you know, they didn't do that. Adam Pearce was just giving him a gift, I guess. They wanted to do some gift giving for Christmas. So that's what happened.
And the touchdown dance.
Which is, you know, like what they like them because they're funny. Like they're funny in like a bro funny kind of way. Like you're laughing at them thinking that they're so funny. I would have added a stipulation to it. Throw Miz in the main event. Make it a triple threat or whatever. You don't need to make it the whole thing. But add that stipulation on the return of that Money in the Bank briefcase. And there's still time to do that. Let's do it.
There is still time. Who knows what'll happen between now and the Royal Rumble. And besides, he hasn't declared himself for the Rumble yet. That's a good thing. That's all I got on that. The only other thing I would do is, and it looks like they may be doing it, is the booking of Shayna Baszler. It looks like she is starting to slowly part ways with Nia. It's going to be up maybe to the Rumble where they'll team and then go away. We saw that backstage with Nia saying, I'm going to enter myself in the Royal Rumble. And then Shayna being like, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll do it too. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there like, yes, enter the Royal Rumble and screw your tag team partner and then go on a rampage.
Like this is one tag team that is like, no, they don't need to stay together. They can break them up in the Rumble. I think that'd be a good move. Like make that the breakdown and communication.
Yeah, exactly. So that's Raw. NXT, what'd you like?
Another solid show. Like they just do good stuff. I really liked the Damian Priest Karrion Kross fight backstage. I thought that was really cool. Scarlett creeped me out. That was just creepy.
Just loving it. Just her sitting there loving it. I was sitting there, I was like, so here's the thing. I kind of I looked away for a second because I've got my two monitors and I had AEW on one, I had the NXT on the other one. And I see the spot, but I don't know who went through the table first. And all of a sudden I see Scarlett and she's like loving every minute of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So Priest put Scarlett, or Kross put Priest through a table. That's what I thought.
Not quite.
But then I watched it. I rewatched it. And I was just like, wait, then why was Scarlett super happy? Because her person went through the table. What happened?
Into violence. It was funny. It was pretty good.
Turned on by violence.
Yeah, that was clear that she was having a time sitting on that road case. And Leon Ruff, Johnny Gargano delivered for me. I really was satisfied with that match. That's what I wanted to see. Ruff was really cool starting things off, jumping around the cage. Like it was very precise. It looked really awesome.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch it. I didn't get to pay as much attention to it as I wanted to because I was covering more of AEW show. But
makes sense.
From what I saw going back and forth, the Ruff Gargano match looked really, really good. I saw the ending. That was enough for me just to be like, I have to go back and watch the whole thing. Yeah. Same thing with earlier in the night with Swerve and Bronson Reed. I was watching that match and I was like, nope, going to go back and watch that in full. And the Rhea Raquel, their back package, and forth video, that package, loved it.
It's clear
that was the reason to watch.
It's clear to me that the writers were unaware of that when they initially started booking this feud, and we were just like, oh, we got a gold mine here. What are we doing? Okay, let's use this. I'm
gonna hope that someone brought it to their attention beforehand. Because they had chemistry. They had chemistry because they were friends and because they had teamed and blah 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 blah. So it wasn't just these two tall girls and Rhea Ripley's not that tall, but she looks tall. She's the tallest 5'7" woman you'll ever meet.
Yeah, she's shorter than me, which was surprising because she does strike me as someone who's 5'11".
Right. So that's going to be an excellent match, and it's going to be a good package. That if you go back and watch it, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else from NXT? I'm just looking at my notes for a second. When Austin Theory took the plaque from William Regal And Gargano said, like,
Sure.
War Games. And Regal
Oh,
just turns back to Gargano and says, "Don't you dare. I've got cameos booked."
I I missed that.
It's
That's very
very
funny.
funny. So I quite enjoyed it. The rest of it, yeah, the whole show was wrestling solid, which is
Yeah.
what they are so good at. Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong had an excellent match. I brought up Reed and Swerve and the Cross Priest fight you brought up. Just a really good show. Go back and watch it just because it's worth your time. The
Yeah.
wrestling itself was worth it this week. Anything you would rebook on NXT?
I thought the way they introduced the Dusty Cup was a little underwhelming. They could have done it in a bit, like just a
Breaking
little bit more
news.
fanfare. Yeah, like that was a little bit quick for me, and I thought they could have done that after showcasing the tag division over the next couple weeks. Maybe introduce that like then, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's going to be a good tournament. I think they tend to really pull it out when it comes to the Dusty Cup. Again, we'll see if they announce any surprises. I am expecting something, so we'll see. The only thing I would kind of move around with is Boa and Xia Li. It's
Oh
good that
yeah,
next week they're finally going to bring them up and they're going to do something with it. But here's the thing: Xia Li has the potential to absolutely run roughshod on the
yeah.
NXT Women's division and like build her way up because she is a nobody by all accounts. She's never come very far to the NXT Women's Championship. She's only gone as far as undercard trying to win matches and won one. So she can come through and actually build her way up to a title opportunity or some sort of big match. Boa, I don't know what you do with Boa.
He's got to
I don't know
steamroll.
how.
Like they've
Yeah,
gone through this. Like if he's going to be an in-ring competitor, they are warriors now. They have to steamroll with the new manager. Um,
yeah,
Zaya, you can do. Boa, I guess you make a run at Johnny eventually, but
yeah, and I'm sure that that would turn out to be a really good match. I just don't know what the story you tell would be,
like this, he can't
unless there's
steamroll
some.
everyone. You're building Bronson Reed to be this like unstoppable force right now too. So like, and like you can clearly tell they've been working with him. Like his entrance has the whole thing now, and like there's a lot more to what he's doing. They're building him up to be a big star, and like it's
Yeah,
you can't do that. You can't do the same thing for two people at the same time. So
100%. And we'll move on. AEW.
it's great. It was lovely. It was a touching tribute. They managed to
I
advance the story in a way that was unexpected. I thought it was just going to be tribute, but they still managed to keep things moving. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. It was actually really nice to see that on the peripheral there were matches that had some sort of storyline implication or at least advanced characters. Um, I got choked up a couple times. I really did, just
yeah,
because you think about someone who had passed and who leaves behind two kids, young kids, and a partner, and it sucks. And just being so young. Uh, my like favorite, oh my god, I hate you so much, you got me part was when they went from that 6-man tag with was it Silver Reynolds and Adam Page
mhm.
taking on it was Eddie Kingston
Butcher and
and
Blade.
Butcher and Blade.
Yeah, that was one match, but I think that might have been a different. Let me look at my
Yeah, I
notes.
think I'm something else. Was that the Pride and
Uh,
Powerful MJF match? Yeah, that was.
yeah,
Okay,
that
so it's
was
Pride and Powerful
MJF. Yeah,
MJF versus Adam Page. Sorry, I'm so many 6-man tags last night.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the match with Silver Reynolds and Adam Page, that could have been the main event. And I get that -1 Brodie Son was the one who like booked that final match that was on, and it was a good match. But just the emotion that came from that 6-man tag that we're talking about right now, that was like that should have been it.
Yeah, and Eric
But
coming out at the end too. Like
oh, so good. But what they did was in the Eddie Kingston match, he comes out and he does his thing, and then oh no, sorry, I am going back. No, it is this. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm trying to remember. The 6-man was Silver and Reynolds and Page. So that ends, and of course Silver is on the mat and like crying after the match, and it's great. And you had that, and Eric Rowan comes back. Sorry, not Eric Rowan. Eric Redbeard,
yeah,
not
as
Big
Jericho had to be
Redbeard.
told 100 times.
Wonderful. And then they cut to Eddie Kingston. That's what got me. A whole roundabout way to get to that.
Everything that man
That got me.
says, damn, like that got me too, honestly. Because he's just such a good man. And like seeing Brodie's kids, like I don't know the guy. I don't know Brodie Lee personally, but like a well put together video package. Seeing a man who touched people that way and then being so open about it, and then looking at his family there, like, it was good.
Yeah,
It was touching.
and then
It's beautiful.
and that song being purchased with the rights in perpetuity, that was really, really good on Tony Khan. Can't alter it. They can use it whenever. I think little things like that just show that you're bought in to the family, to your people, to your employers, to your whatever. And that's big. Those little things, they add up. So it builds a lot of goodwill for a company.
Oh,
Especially
plus
for the guys that work with it.
if you want to get at me, set a video to Tom Waits. Damn, old 55 was like, oh, that hurt.
I had to get up and walk out of the room.
It's a lot, right? Like,
I was like, nope, sorry, we're done here. I can't. At that point, I was done because I watched what was going on in the ring with the big hug and everything, and the title presentation, and the kid with the wearing his mask and wearing the title and all that stuff, and I'm just like, no, we're done. I can't do anymore.
that's a strong kid, man.
Yeah,
I know. Oof.
But I think it also helps that he has a huge family around him.
Yeah.
Like they really did. They loved those kids, and they showed their love to those kids as well.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be fine. I do, and I think that they're going to be taken care of, which is great.
Yeah.
Whether or not the kid gets into wrestling down the line, that's up to him. Of course,
Yeah,
he's still
doesn't
young.
matter. You don't like he's so young that
But the fact that he has that opportunity given to him, that if he wants to, the door's open and the contract is available to him, I think that's pretty great. And because I tend to go to the back of my head sometimes, I do wonder if maybe the contract that he signed may have been in the form of a trust fund, something that could be used for college or for an education, for something like that down the line.
Yeah, I think it's a way just so that them like it's a way for the company to legally be able to take care of that family is my guess at it, more than anything.
And again, that's not me knocking it. I think it's a wonderful gesture. I think it's really good. I like the idea of maybe it means a little bit more than just like, come wrestle for us.
It definitely does. Like it
of course, they would love to see him do that, but I think there's more to it. What are your misses from the show? I know you hated the show.
I mean, I don't know. Jericho can frustrate me sometimes. That's what I'll say.
I'll get it. You know what? I'm going to give him a pass, and I know I go at him a lot, but the story that he told about being in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia and having the Mecca, the facing east on the wall, and like only Brodie knew and Jericho didn't know. I was like, you know what? Jericho's a great storyteller. I will let him have this story. Yeah. I will let him tell it, and I will take it at face value because why not? It's a good story.
It was weird for me to picture Jericho getting angry at a sticker, which is an interesting character trait.
Is it though?
Anyway, it made me love Brodie Lee a lot, which was which was great.
I appreciated it. I really did.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're getting towards the end of it. We may end a little bit early because it's New Year's Eve and we got big parties to not go to.
Yeah.
SmackDown tomorrow night. If you're listening Friday, then it's tonight. If you're listening Saturday, then sorry, you can watch us on PW Unlimited instead this week, where we will talk about that thing I talked about the week in wrestling coming up. That video is going to be like 30 minutes.
Oh, man.
All right, let's get into it. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair are going to team up again to take on Baymella. I am excited for that match. Please, please let this set up the tone for what will happen at the Royal Rumble between these four women. Yes, please, thank you. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it'll be really good. Bianca Belair has been doing a fantastic job in the ring, so I'm excited to keep seeing week after week what she puts together because she's been really exciting.
And I love that they're putting her in with these top talent in SmackDown.
And she's holding her own. Like she's she'll make a couple of mistakes comparatively, and it's more noticeable because of the caliber that she's in there. But it's still like Very, very exciting. I think they've built her a good character, like a really good one. She's got, stuff to say at any given moment. I find the EST thing a little bit annoying, but like it is a marketable character. Like many people will disagree with me, and they are absolutely like, it is just a personal taste thing with that. So like she has memorable catchphrases. She's good on the mic. She's great in the ring. Looking forward to a long, great career with her.
Yeah, and on the flip side, watching Baymella come together, watching them tag is nice. Seeing Carmella kind of get her shine back, I think is really nice. Really nice and really neat. And Bayley, I mean, you have to keep telling the story of Bayley. She's not going to revert to being the hugger. She's not going to become a good person anytime soon. So just keep letting her flesh out the character of being this pompous, full of herself jerk who tags with someone who is super conceited and full of herself too.
Like they've, yeah, all four women in the ring have very good characters now, and it is lovely to see this be developed so well. Like Carmella, I didn't really know her other than was she around with Enzo and Big Cass? Was that her? Yeah, that's how I knew her before. Yeah. Not that interested.
And people brought this up multiple times, but like the fact that Carmella was the one who survived and thrived from those three when everyone was expecting Enzo and Cass to be like the breakout stars.
So over with the crowd, right? Because the entrance, but oof.
Yeah. Yeah, and then everything changed, and Carmella has been able to adapt and pivot and change her look and her style time and time again. You see this new incarnation. I think it's really, really neat seeing her development over the years.
Yeah, good character, good moveset. Like I'm excited to see it work, and they're not throwing Bayley under the bus. She's transitioning to like a less focused role for a little while, which is fine. That they kept her character solid.
Yeah, and listen, do I hate the idea of doing Sasha Banks versus Carmella again at the Rumble? No, I don't hate it at all.
It's fine.
In fact, I'm really looking forward to Bianca Belair versus Bayley because that's coming and it's going to be good. And I know we did it and everyone talked about the outcome, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But they're going to do it again and the match is going to be better than before. So really, who loses here? Yeah. Not like in the match, but I mean with the fans. Who's going to who loses here?
No, it's all good.
Yeah. Speaking of all good, Big E, the new Intercontinental Champion, is going to be taking on all good King Corbin.
Whatever. Corbin's good in ring. I don't give a crap. You're all wrong.
I don't hate him. I don't.
So many people do. I get, anyway.
I get it. And at the same time, I think the problem is that every time somebody wins a championship or there's a gatekeeper needed, it's King Corbin.
It's King Corbin.
There's nobody else.
They need to take that moniker off him. Like, just go back to being Baron Corbin.
Oh, why be a Baron when you can be a king?
Oh, man. All right. Anyway, it's good to see Big E getting his push. I'm sure he'll do very, very well. Because, again, like he's got an excellent moveset. Some of the best taunts in all of WWE. Like, and so good on the mic. Love why every time he opens his mouth, I am enthralled. So.
Again, go watch Talking Smack. There is a lot of amazing promos that come out of that show. If you aren't spending your 20 minutes or whatever it is on WWE Network on Saturday morning, I don't know what to tell you. Roman Reigns is going to make a special request of WWE management. What the hell's that?
I don't know. I'm titillated. We'll see. I'm intrigued. I have no idea where they're taking that.
Bring me Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon has to acknowledge me as the head of the table.
Oh my God.
And then out comes Shane McMahon.
That would be the worst. That would be the worst match. Oh my God.
It's Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon for the head of the table. That's right. No, I'm interested to see it. It's going to be Roman Reigns ringing in the new year. Paul Heyman saying ridiculous shit. And who knows what comes next? Maybe we'll see Adam Pearce. And maybe Pearce will make a football reference and then give him a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Money in the Bank briefcases for everyone.
Yay! And then finally, we talked about this on PW Unlimited. Seth returns, but maybe not, because he was actually removed from the SmackDown preview.
Oh.
That was as early as today. So I guess maybe no Seth Rollins, or maybe they're going to keep it as a will he or won't he situation with him. Regardless, Seth Rollins was set to return, but apparently he's not on the preview anymore for tomorrow night's SmackDown. I guess we're going to find out when we're watching live, or like around 6 o'clock tomorrow night when we're all kind of sitting on social media waiting for something to do.
maybe Vince is still not around and they're taking this opportunity to kill the Friday night savior, whatever.
Vince, I know you're coming back from Christmas vacation, but I got to tell you something. I don't care. Give him a
Nope.
Money in the Bank briefcase. Oh, happy Father's Day, Seth.
What's next for Seth Rollins? We got 5 minutes. Let's try to think of better gimmicks for Seth Rollins.
Caveman Seth Rollins.
Ooh, that would be good.
Yes.
Like Jungle
I don't know
Boy,
what
but
that...
like stronger.
Yes. He'll be CrossFit Jesus. He'll be CrossFit Jungle Boy.
That sounds great too. You know what? Like like a gym guru, like a fitness guru. You know, a guy.
No, they did that.
They did that.
They did.
No.
Not with Seth.
Not with Seth.
But they did that with oh my God, what's his stupid name? Simon Dean in the Simon System.
Oh man.
It was a 2006 thing. Mike Bucci, who was also known as Nova.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Don't do that.
Maybe he comes up with some type of juice cleanse.
Yes.
Like an MLM guy who just won't leave you alone. That way you can keep him as a heel because you need the heels.
They'll call him Juice Rollins.
Juice Rollins. Yeah. Pair him up with Mojo Rollins, his first adherent. He's bought into the system, sunk his life savings into it.
Mojo Rawley would be hilarious as Seth's sidekick.
Yeah. See? Boom.
The newest disciple.
No. Okay. Again,
the disciple. The hype disciple.
Look, we want to do the savior thing. Give him like 10 disciples. Like more disciples. It can't just be Murphy, like one guy.
They gave him Austin Theory.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that went real well. Breakout star, Austin Theory.
I just wrote you in my notes. That's all I wrote for that section of NXT.
Fair.
So maybe we'll get the fans to vote for someone different because I'm sure the fans decided all of those awards.
Hey, those are legitimate awards that they give out because Vince McMahon does not like it when an election goes awry. He wants the count to go full.
A number of them seemed narratively convenient, but anyway.
I mean, yeah, that's because... Listen, if you ever wanted to know how people in wrestling feel about wrestling, don't look at Twitter, don't look at Facebook, don't look at socials. Go to a YouTube video and just read the comments.
Yeah,
that's how people. And these people, and I'm not saying that these are going to be people who are like shitting all over what's going on. No, they're like,
they're
go
very
with this
into
good
it.
guy. Go, like I hate this guy. Oh my God, Roman Reigns is the worst. I hate him now. That's who you're catering to. We're not important in the conversation. We're here to just talk about it. We're not important.
I hate when people like who aren't in the biz use like the biz terminology, and I include myself as being not in the biz. I'm a guy who, I'm an art critic. But like, what you're describing are the marks. Those, like
of integrity,
the marks of integrity who make up the majority of the audience. But anyway, whatever. That's good. That's a good thing. If it can bring entertainment and joy crafted the way that they want, they're doing a good job.
I agree. And we've been doing the show for now 5, almost
weeks.
6 months.
Yeah.
20. Yes. This is episode 20. And so far, a lot of you have stuck with us, have joined us, and we appreciate you. Tim, I appreciate you for joining this ride and letting me talk wrestling at you and with you for the last 20 weeks. We got so much more coming up. I'm excited to announce a couple of things that are coming down the pipeline in the next couple of weeks. Some things I haven't even told Tim yet, so I'm pretty stoked. But in the meantime, Tim, where can we find you on the internet?
I thought you were going to tell me now. Kids can find me at Tim Stone P, TIMBSTONEP on Twitter.
And you can find our show at Tim and Joel Pod. Go to timandjoelpod.com, or you can go to youtube.com/timandjoelpod. And you can find me all over social media at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. Yes, that's right. We are going to be hard launching Fightful Gaming, the Twitch, on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm so stoked because we have over 300 people following us on Twitch. We will hopefully be achieving affiliate status by that time. We go live on Saturday at 8 p.m. Lots of friends will be there, lots of fandom and pomp and circumstance and gaming and talking smack at each other while we play video games, because that's what we do.
Smackety smack. I'll be there. I'll tune in, I guess.
Yay! So will I. In fact, I'll be playing video games that night. Mm-hmm. And for the rest of the time, for those 7 days a week, for the 365 days a year, for the new year, for the rest of the year, for all the times that you love this year and every year coming for your year, ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, enjoy your wrestling and Happy New Year.